I've been being quiet for hours, just quietly reading because I didn't want to start vlogging at, 6 o'clock in the morning when sound carries like crazy up here. But of course, now that I want to start vlogging, there's people making noise. Hi everyone, Rosie here. Welcome back to my channel. As I mentioned in the TBR video that I put up, I guess probably sometime fairly recently, you can check that out up here if you would like to. I am back to do a reading vlog. I am really getting into the swing of my reading vacation. I finished 2 books. I'm going to start by talking about the second one now. Keep your eyes peeled for my wrap-up to hear about the first, because this is just going to be a short little sample vlog. Otherwise, it would be impossible to edit. There's no way I can make a vlog talking about all of the books all at once. Anyway, so the first book that I'm going to talk about in this vlog that I finished this morning was I Shall Wear Midnight by Terry Pratchett. This is the 38th Discworld novel and the 4th Tiffany Aching novel, I think I'm remembering that correctly. And I actually think I had only read this like once before this read through. I had a physical copy at home, which I didn't end up bringing because I wanted to have some ebooks to read. And it looked read, but not really well thumbed. I think it came out late enough that I didn't have time to reread it a whole bunch before I moved away from my physical books for a while and switched to ebooks and all of that, and just, I guess, forgot about it a bit. Not that I forgot that it existed, I just didn't really think about it, which is why I'm doing this publication order read through of the entire Discworld series, to make sure I get all of these books that I hadn't read at all or that I'd only read once. And I have to say, it's been so fun to have read all of the Tiffany Aching books, because they go from the We Free Men, which is the Discworld book that I had probably read more than any other single Discworld book, because it's the first one I ever read when I was a kid, all the way through to I Shall Wear Midnight and The Shepherd's Crown, which were some of the last Discworld books published, and that I think I read both of them only once, like ever, close to 10 years ago. So I'm almost rediscovering them for the first time now, rereading them. It's amazing. I'm loving following Tiffany's story and seeing her grow up. In I Shall Wear Midnight, she's now, I think she's about to turn 16 throughout this book, if I'm remembering correctly. I should remember because I read it over the course of yesterday and today, but like, little details. Despite being quite young, she's taken on a large amount of responsibility as the witch for the Chalk, her home country, her homeland, so she's now sort of taken on this huge responsibility. And as she's trying to navigate that, all of a sudden these very strong anti-witch sentiments start arising seemingly out of nowhere, and she has to face off with that. So good. Kind of dark, I guess. As you can probably guess from how I've talked about it so far, I loved it. I love all of Terry Pratchett's books, but even these ones that I've only read once, the Tiffany Aching ones, have such a special place in my heart. I love her story so much. I love that character. I love how she grows up. I love how in this book we really see the effects of the past books on her and on her growth as a character. I just think it's so magical and wonderful, and it actually almost makes me want to just read another Discworld book right now. Yesterday, when I was trying to enjoy the beautiful sunshine and read on the dock, my Kindle was overheating because it was so nice and hot out, and of course my e-reader is like black with the black case. I guess it just got too warm for it. It was overheating, it was malfunctioning, and it was prohibiting me from reading I Shall Wear Midnight. Anyway, that was very frustrating. So when I was picking my next read this morning, I thought, I'll be strategic. I'm going to pick a physical book. I will pick a physical book that cannot get overheated. And I picked up Jonny Appleseed, which I'm very excited about. I am now, I think, about a quarter of the way through or something, and so far it is very captivating, very enjoyable. really liking getting to know the character so far. I don't know if that's the right way to put it for this book. I'm going to try and give a more detailed summary in a moment when I actually have the description in front of me and stuff, but so far it is very enjoyable. However, it has a black cover, so it is also getting very hot in the sun, and so is the puppy dog. So the reading has had to be put on hold, and it's time for some water fetch. I'm halfway into Jonny Appleseed, and I'm not sure I can accurately describe it, but I'm gonna give it a go. It's the sort of book that takes place over a limited span of time, in this case a week. The main character, Jonny, is trying to prepare to return to his home for his stepfather's funeral, and in doing so is revisiting memories and thoughts and experiences from throughout his life and reflecting on a lot of things and trying to, I think, make sense of his past and figure out his present. I am loving the writing. I was kind of worried that this was going to be one that wasn't perfect for vacation because I thought it might be a bit of a I want to read a little bit and then put it down and then read a bit, put it down type book. So far that hasn't been terribly the case. I've managed to read quite big chunks all in one go without feeling like my reading experience is suffering for it. So I'm looking forward to continuing with this. I've also been reading Dangerous Liaisons by Pierre Choderlos de Laclos. It's a French classic epistolary form, so it's letters back and forth, basically of mostly a bunch of aristocrats treating other people terribly and manipulating them and using them and grooming them and all sorts of stuff. That sounds awful. Parts of it I'm kind of like, am I liking this? Am I enjoying this? Overall, I think it is interesting. I just find the language like very flowery and excessive, and I need to read it in small doses because it makes me start to fall asleep. So I've read it in little 25 pages chunks so far. I'm only 75 pages in, and I think I'm going to enjoy this. Just definitely not one that I want to binge quite so much. I completely forgot to finish the first half of this vlog. I always intended it to be a 2-day vlog, and I just got distracted with dinner and playing a role-playing game with Bear and totally forgot to say anything to wrap that up. But I think it's time to do day 2. I've just had a quiet morning of reading, unsurprisingly, and I've just been doing a bit of work. For those of you who are going to be very annoyed that I'm working while on vacation, don't worry. My manager very, very much tried to convince me to take the morning off as well. But we had a few things going on at work that it just made sense to bring my laptop and do myself instead of trying to explain to someone else the details of how I do them. I now have a few little last tasks that are really just waiting for files to copy over and stuff. So what I'm gonna do is drink some lovely tea. I thought I'd forgot to bring any decaf tea. I forgot all of the non-essential but would have been nice things on this vacation. I forgot our Bluetooth speaker. I forgot all my bookmarks. So all my physical books, I've been having to just remember the page number because I forgot to bring any bookmarks and I can't be bothered to go find receipts. I thought I forgot decaf tea, which I did, but when we were up earlier in the summer, I actually left some, so I'm having some tea. I'm gonna wait for my files to copy, which it's currently saying is going to be another 16 minutes, so that gives me time to dive back into my book. I'm reading Mortal Follies by Alexis Hall. I'm about 70% of the way through. I started yesterday, continued this morning, as I said, and it is fantastic. I am so excited to read another few chapters while I wait for all this to copy over. It's a delightful fantasy romance set in the Regency period, and it is my perfect tone. I suspect it's the sort of tone that not everyone loves. I don't know, maybe it is universally beloved, but it has the right level of snark and fourth wall breaking and referentialness. The narrator is really, really fun. It's narrated by an imp or a spirit of Titania and Oberon's court who seems to have fallen on hard times and is publishing a book about something he witnessed in the Regency period to make some money. Anyway, he's just got a great voice. The romance is exactly my style. It's not too slow burn, not too fast burn. It's very fade to black, which I like because I think I've come to accept that any form of spice actually on the page just, it doesn't translate for my head, especially in a book that's not pure spice. Like I don't go from I'm just reading my cute fantasy stuff to intense spicy scenes. It just doesn't flow for me. So I like that this is very fade to black, but like in a, still gets the vibe and the emotions going, but like without the awkward prose. And I'm really excited to read the last third and see where it goes. I think it's going to be a really great resolution. I hope there's not a huge major problem still, but there probably will be because there's a third of the book left and things are going too well. So I'm sure something will pop up. But the last third of this book was just as delightful as the first 2/3. I absolutely loved how the story wrapped up, all of the adventure. Oh my goodness, so much fun. This is exactly my kind of rom-com. As I was saying earlier, I know my taste in rom-coms is not like the most typical, or my taste in romance books, I should say, is not the most typical. I know boyfriend material is very popular, so I want to read that as well. It's been on my TBR for ages, but the cover of this one just like, oh, look at that. And it entirely lives up to the delight that this cover inspires. Wonderful, absolutely fantastic. Such a fun book. I just love it when I have expectations for a book and they are completely met. I think I'll take a little break from reading to eat some lunch. Bear is making us baked potatoes on the barbecue and I'm very excited. And then I guess I'll pick another book to dive into. Oh my goodness. This sort of like just read all the time stuff makes me so happy. It was really hard to choose what to read next because I'll probably only have time to finish one more book before the vacation is over. And I had 3 more on my TBR that I like. All 3 of these books I am so excited to read. I think they all sound so good. But in the end, I chose Scarlet by Genevieve Cogman. I think I said in my TBR that this was an e-arc from NetGalley. It's not. I just bought this because I was so excited about it. I misremembered. Genevieve Cogman is, of course, the author of the Invisible Library series. Fantastic fantasy, sci-fi, adventure romps that I read largely last year. Scarlet is the first in a new series from her, so as soon as I saw that, I knew I had to pick it up. It's set in the French Revolution, but with vampires. The Scarlet Pimpernel is involved, and our heroine is getting involved with that as well. It's a really fun new character, and I think it's just setting up to be a really fun adventure story with, I'm hoping, some interesting like ethical questions and stuff. I think we're starting to bring some of that up, but we'll see how much it actually gets pulled into the story. As I'm sure you can imagine, with the French Revolution, there's lots to go on there. This is definitely the France at the end of the 18th century sort of book that I wanted to be reading on vacation. Earlier in this vlog, I started Dangerous Liaisons, which is good and I'm looking forward to reading, but like way too nap-inducing for vacation. So this is much more the like quick-paced, grips you in and gets you going with the story type book that I love for just sitting and reading all day, which is what I've been doing all afternoon. Just bundled up because it is quite chilly and breezy, but like enjoying the fresh air and good reading atmosphere.